Another edition, another round of important updates. On today's episode, I bring you an extensive report on President Muhammadu Buhari's visit to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where he attended the 33rd Ordinary Session of Heads of State and Government of the African Union, themed Silencing the Guns, Creating Conducive Conditions for Africa's Development. I also have very, very interesting news for you as a Nigerian American built the fastest carbureted front-wheel car in the world. Trust me, guys, this story is very, very interesting. This is the Diaspora, and I am your host, Koinsola Adetumbi. Stay tuned. And onto our big story. President Muhammadu Buhari visited Addis Ababa, Ethiopia to attend the 33rd Ordinary Session of Heads of State and Government of the African Union, themed Silencing the Guns, Creating Conducive Conditions for Africa's Development. Mr. President delivered a keynote address on a high-side level event on Stop the War on Children, dividend of silencing the guns. The event was co-sponsored by governments of Nigeria, Uganda, Norway, and Save the Children International. Watch this.
The sustained engagement of the Union is necessary for a peaceful and secure Africa envisaged in Agenda 2063. Chairperson, a compelling agenda of the Union is the aim of an owned and led solution in conflict situations. Regrettably, terrorism and violent extremism continue to cause mayhem and untold crises on our continent. Nigeria condemns in the strongest terms the perpetrators of terrorism in Libya, the Sahel, Lake Chad Basin, and parts of the whole of Africa. We are very much encouraged by the decision of AU Peace and Security Council to adopt the regional stabilization strategy for the Lake Chad Basin and the renewal of the mandates of the multinational Joint Task Force and the G5 Sahel Joint Force. We are hopeful that the Inter-Water Basin Transfer Initiative for the recharging of Lake Chad will address some of the drivers of terrorism. We reaffirm that the time has come for a new strategic rethinking by the Union to effectively prevent, manage, and resolve conflicts in the face of new circumstances. Nigeria welcomes the collaborative leadership of the African Union with the regional economic communities in resolving conflicts on our continent. The renewed vigor by ECOWAS to mobilize its own resources to combat terrorism is commendable. Nigeria is proud to continue to serve as a strong contributor to ECOWAS. In Guinea-Bissau, ECOWAS successfully midwifed the general elections. We pledge to mobilize $1 billion United States dollars to address the challenges of insecurity in our region and the Sahel. Nigeria, along with ECOWAS, led in restoration of democracy and peace in the Gambia. Nigeria calls on this assembly to strengthen the concurrent implementation of the African peace and security architecture and the African governance architecture. We commend the recent progress made by member states relating to the contribution towards the effective takeoff of our African Peace Union. Thank you very much.
On border closure, what is Nigeria's position this time?
Well, our position is that the committee has been set up by Mr. President, and it will review the situation in a few months.
What about the single currency?
Well, the single currency is, position is still that the convergence criteria has not been met by the majority of the countries, and so, you know, there has to obviously be an extension of time.
Minister, as we speak, the heads of state are still in a closed door session. Can you describe the meeting as a tough one?
Yes, it's a very tough one because they have not moved beyond the first item on the agenda, Guinea-Bissau. The situation essentially, the law provides that the Electoral Commission announces the results, which they did, and it was contested, the procedure, before they made that announcement. A large number of countries of ECOWAS believe that since all the observers considered the electoral process to have been free and fair, and the fact that the losing candidate had congratulated the winner, that that should be more or less enough, to proceed. Some presidents recalled the situation in the Gambia where the same kind of thing happened. The results were announced, a president congratulated his opponent, and then some days later decided to appeal. But it was said that they were not exactly the same, because in the Gambian situation, apparently, the Supreme Court had pronounced on the result, whereas here, it's the Supreme Court that it was only the Electoral Commission that had pronounced.
Still on the border closure, Nigeria's neighbors will expect a closure and a resolution soon because they have made repeated calls for us to change our position.
Yeah.
Is it likely to change in the shortest possible time?
No, I think that it'll have to, the process that has been set up will have to be seen to, I think that, clearly Nigeria felt that there was an issue, that there was a mischief, smuggling of weapons, drugs, rice, and so forth. So it's Nigeria that essentially has to decide when the mechanisms that were put in place to address those mischief, when Nigeria believes that it has begun to work.
Does Nigeria think the timeline for the ECO is still achievable?
Well, we're in the timeline, so obviously it hasn't been achieved within the timeline that was set, which was 2020. Nigeria believes that there are econometric imperatives, that have to be satisfied before we proceed, and that the decision should not be taken on a purely political basis. And, once those, the technical criteria, or the economic criteria have not been satisfied, then Nigeria's position is that we should wait until they are satisfied before proceeding, and that's, of course, the convergence criteria.
That silencing the guns created conditions for Africa's development is the purpose of candidacy. So why is this for Nigeria?
Well, the African countries at a meeting in 2013 had set a big continental agenda for themselves, which they call Agenda 2063. That is the silencing of the guns by 2020. And the objective of silencing of the guns is to rid Africa of all violent conflicts, of genocide, of wars, and terrorism. So are we there? Has this been achieved? This summit is supposed to evaluate, to assess progress that has been made, and to determine whether deadlines would be retained or extended.
Okay, President Buhari will, apart from other engagements here in Addis Ababa, will also attend a high-level event in furtherance of Nigeria's objectives and priorities. What are the expectations?
The expectations are enormous. When he talks to the Ethiopians, it is hoped that we are going to strengthen bilateral relations, and reinforce cooperation in areas that are of common interest to our own countries. And there are specific engagements we are hoping that will be undertaken here. There will be a signature on a number of memoranda of understanding, including one that will allow visa-free travel for holders of diplomatic and official passports. There will be a defense agreement and MOU on defense. There will also be agreement on culture and tourism that will be signed between our own countries.
After the AU summit, President Muhammadu Buhari began a state visit to Ethiopia on the invitation of the Ethiopian Prime Minister, Dr. Abiy Ahmed. Thereafter, Mr. President proceeded to meet with the Nigerian community in Ethiopia. Enjoy the details.
It gives me pleasure to be with you as I wind down my engagements to the African Union and Ethiopia, where I also undertook an official visit to explore with my chief host, the Prime Minister, new areas of collaboration which further enhance Nigeria-Ethiopia cooperation for the mutual benefits of our two countries. Regarding the AU summit, the meeting extensively discussed key issues of interest relating to peace, security, sustainable development, and integration of African continent in line of AU Agenda 2063, a vision which is in tandem with the major objectives of our government initiated in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan and the 2020 National Budget. As you are aware, in all my engagements outside Nigeria, I have always found it necessary to meet with our countrymen and women in diaspora in a town hall setting like this. My message is threefold and simple. First, you are our ambassadors and the face of our country abroad. The world is therefore watching you and would make judgments on Nigeria based on your comportment and actions. Second, in whatever legitimate engagements you find yourself, you must strive to excel and be the best. Third, while you are out in the diaspora, do not forget home, as you represent some of the best human assets that Nigeria possesses. I therefore urge you to use your resources, skills, and talents. Urge you to use your resources, skills, and agents, and help the development of our fatherland. As you are well aware, we have now established a dedicated agency, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, whose chairperson, CEO Honorable Abike Debiri Arewa, is here with us today. The Commission is tasked to guide and assist you in actualizing your willing contribution to the development of our country. At this juncture, I wish to particularly commend Nigerians in diaspora in Ethiopia. I am aware that the Nigerians in diaspora in Ethiopia has the highest concentration of professionals working in international organizations like the African Union, the United Nations agencies, etc. This is a concrete presentation of Nigerian spirit of excellence and high achievement. As a government, we are committed to supporting, encouraging, and protecting all law-abiding Nigerians at home and abroad to prosper. I therefore call on all in the diaspora to help us to achieve this by being good students and of good behavior. We are not pleased that some of their actions have not projected our country in good light. I urge them to quickly change their ways and obey the laws of your countries of residence. I have also been briefed on the challenges faced by some Nigerian companies with investments in this country, especially the Dangote and Lukon companies. I have directed the relevant ministers to take up the issue with a view to resolving all complaints amicably with the Ethiopian authorities. On the issue of diaspora voting, I have said it severally that I am not against it. However, you will need to convince the National Assembly to amend the relevant laws to make diaspora voting a reality in Nigeria. Regarding the issue of insecurity in parts of our country, this administration is fully determined to combat and defeat all acts of criminality, banditry, and terrorism. I appeal to all Nigerians to support and cooperate with our security agencies who are ready to defend us and preserve our unity. Protecting Nigeria, fighting corruption, and bringing prosperity to our people remain key priorities of our administration. As I conclude, let me state that Nigeria looks forward to your positive contributions by bringing investments home through Nigerians in Diaspora Commission in support of development of our country. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
A very big congratulations to Mr. Bisi Ezerioha, also known as Mr. Ndubisi Ezerioha, a Nigerian-American engineer, a professional car race driver, an entrepreneur, and an engine builder. Mr. Ezerioha is the builder of the fastest carbureted front-wheel car in the world. The creative engineer also has a degree in natural sciences and a master's in chemical engineering. His exhibitions will be featuring the most innovative and influential motorcycles from the past 150 years and will run from November 28, 2020 to April 26, 2021. Aren't you just proud of him? Keep making waves globally.
Fast forward to today, I create beautiful automotive masterpieces for the high-performance community. In 2013, we were approached with an opportunity to build a very unique vehicle for the American Honda booth at SEMA in Las Vegas. I was recently married, just had a new daughter, and it was perfect for me to build a very outlandish minivan, a 4-digit horsepower monster that usually takes a year to create. My team and I had 7 weeks. But you know what? We exceeded our initial 1,000 horsepower goal by 29 horses. As a scientist, it's very exciting to be able to have a concept, something that has never ever existed, and then bringing that to life. You can see it, you can hear it, you can drive it. There's nothing more exciting than that.
Aha! Hello, how are you? All right, now I wait for diaspora and I get stuck with this money. Not be you wait the bariga or the mushi or makoko. Hold up. Yeah. Okay. Una see this link? Now for una wait for diaspora. Where see the doubt whether value dey Nigeria? Hello, don't think about it. This link it go carry you direct go the place where we say it go help you choose which investment you want to do for Nigeria. Any investment, whether na waiting, whether na bank shares, whether na agriculture, whether na real estate, whether na stock exchange, any investment wey you wan do, make sure say you click am because anything fit happen for diaspora anytime and e go better say if you come Nigeria, you go get where you go relax and you get investment to fall back to. Hello, make sure say you click am because you wan say what? Eh? Where that?
Hey, Oga. See, make I help you click the link.
Make to click waiting. When we say na Ambiolo primary school you go. You know here when I talk say na for people wey dey for diaspora. People wey dey for diaspora, what are they called? I know they are called diasporans. Oh, there. Let me talk to my diasporans people. Make sure say you click this link. Oh yeah, to betterment your life. Because you both say what the investment in your country in Nigeria is a forever life betterment. Thank you. You see the here. If you like say you don't get job for filling station, you see the here. Go. Look.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down. Do you have a job where you're going to?
No, but someone is arranging, you know.
Listen, Aliko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad, or even end up in prison.
Thanks for being a part of the show. It's been worthwhile. And in case you have anything to share with us, please do not hesitate to do so as we expect feedback on our show. Remember, you can reach us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook at Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, on Twitter at nidcom_gov, on our Instagram page at nidcom_gov, and on our website at www.nidcom.gov.ng. You can also join us on DSTV at NTA Network News on Friday at 10:30 a.m., on NTA International on Tuesday at 6 a.m. and 10:05 p.m., on NTA News 24 on Friday at 2:30 p.m. and on Sunday at 11:30 a.m. You can also join us on WAP TV on Monday at 10 p.m. I remain your host, Koinsola Adetunbi. See you next time.